Imagine a ghost, not a spectral figure in a haunted house, but a hulking metal beast, soaring through the sky, its engines roaring, its silhouette a familiar symbol of war, yet utterly devoid of life. No pilots, no crew, just the machine itself, defying logic, defying gravity, a silent sentinel of an impossible journey. This isn't science fiction. This is the chilling, true story of a B-17 flying fortress, a bomber that flew 200 miles with no one at the controls, leaving behind a mystery that still haunts aviation history to this very day. The year was 1944. Europe was a crucible of fire and steel, and the skies over Germany were a deadly ballet of bombers and fighters. Among them was the B-17, Eleanor's Angel, a veteran of countless raids, its fuselage scarred but resolute. Piloting her that fateful day was Liam, a man whose hands knew the controls like his own heartbeat, his gaze sharp, constantly scanning the hostile skies. Beside him, co-pilot William, ever vigilant, his fingers hovering over the switches, ready for any emergency. In the nose, navigator Jacob, his charts meticulously marked, his calculations precise, guiding them through the flak-filled heavens. And in the bombardier station, Benjamin, his focus unwavering, his mind already visualizing the target, the fate of the mission resting in his capable hands. They were a team, a family forged in the crucible of war, bound by the shared terror and triumph of aerial warfare. Their target? A strategic industrial complex deep within enemy territory, a vital cog in the Nazi war machine. The mission was routine, or as routine as any bombing run could be, until the flak started. It wasn't just ordinary anti-aircraft fire, it was a storm of steel, a blizzard of explosions that rocked Eleanor's Angel with terrifying force. The sky around them erupted in black puffs, each one a potential death sentence. A direct hit tore through the right wing, sending shrapnel ripping through the cockpit with the force of 1,000 hammers. The roar of the engines was momentarily drowned out by the shriek of tortured metal and the deafening concussion. Instruments exploded in a shower of sparks, wires hung limply, and the Perspex windshield, once a protective barrier, shattered into 1,000 deadly shards, exposing the crew to the brutal, freezing air. The control yoke, Liam's lifeline, hung limp, severed from its purpose, utterly unresponsive. A chilling silence descended, broken only by the whistling wind rushing through the gaping hole where the cockpit once was, and the desperate cries of the injured. Liam, despite his training and immense courage, knew instantly that this was it. The plane was crippled beyond repair. "Bail out! Bail out!" His voice, though strained and raw, cut through the chaos, a desperate command for survival. William, dazed and bleeding from a head wound, managed to deploy his parachute, tumbling out into the violent slipstream. Jacob, disoriented but driven by instinct, followed suit, as did Benjamin, scrambling from the bombardier station, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. Each man, clutching their hope of survival, plunged into the frigid air, their parachutes blossoming against the backdrop of smoke and fire, a stark contrast to the grim scene unfolding above. They watched in horror as Eleanor's Angel, their home in the sky, spiraled downwards, a wounded bird plummeting towards the earth, a fiery epitaph in the German skies. They were certain it was doomed, destined to become another statistic, another name etched onto a memorial wall. But Eleanor's Angel refused to die. Against all odds, against every principle of aerodynamics, against the very laws of physics, the B-17 stabilized. The flames on the wing miraculously died down, leaving a charred but intact structure, a testament to its robust design. The plane, now nothing more than an empty shell with a gaping maw where its command center should have been, continued its flight. It was an impossible sight. A ghost ship sailing through the clouds, a silent behemoth. Ground radar operators, both Allied and Axis, tracked its phantom journey with growing disbelief. German fighters were scrambled, their pilots bewildered by the sight of a B-17, clearly crippled, yet flying steadily, its bomb bay doors strangely open, its guns silent, utterly unresponsive to their warning shots. They reported seeing no crew, just the empty, wind-swept void of the cockpit, a chilling testament to the plane's impossible solitude. The plane, defying all logic, maintained its course, crossing hundreds of miles of occupied territory, then the treacherous expanse of the English Channel, heading straight for its home base. Back at the Allied Air Base, the news of Eleanor's Angel still flying sent shockwaves through the command center. Liam, William, Jacob, and Benjamin, having miraculously survived their harrowing descent and evaded capture, were debriefed, their stories of the plane's destruction seemingly contradicted by the radar plots. How could it be? How could a plane with no cockpit, no crew, continue to fly? Was it a miracle? A cruel joke of fate? Or something far more unsettling? Something that defied human understanding? The airmen, still recovering from their ordeal, could offer no explanation, only the vivid, terrifying memory of their jump from a dying beast. Hours passed. The B-17, a silent, solitary specter, finally began its descent over English soil. It didn't crash. It executed what can only be described as a controlled landing. With its landing gear miraculously deployed, Eleanor's Angel glided into a field near a small village, coming to a gentle stop amidst the bewildered sheep and stunned villagers. The engines, still sputtering, finally fell silent, leaving behind a profound quietude, broken only by the distant chirping of birds. An investigation team, led by a seasoned Air Force officer named Benjamin, was dispatched immediately. Benjamin, a man of logic and order, felt an unsettling chill as he approached the scene. The B-17 sat perfectly upright, an imposing monument to an impossible flight. As Benjamin and his team cautiously approached the aircraft, a sense of eerie foreboding hung in the crisp morning air. They peered into the gaping hole where the cockpit once was, expecting to find something, anything. But there was nothing. No bodies, no signs of life, just the wind whistling through the shattered metal, an empty testament to the plane's impossible journey. The controls, however, were another story. The throttles were set for cruise, the trim tabs adjusted for level flight, as if an invisible hand, an unseen pilot, had guided the plane all the way home. The bomb bay doors, which had been reported open by German pilots, were now closed, and a single unexploded bomb remained within, a silent, deadly passenger. The discovery sent shivers down the spines of the investigators. Who or what had flown this plane? Was it the residual memory of its crew, an echo of their training imprinted upon the machine, a kind of mechanical phantom limb? Or was there a more scientific, albeit equally baffling explanation? Experts theorized about aerodynamic stability, the plane's inherent design allowing it to maintain flight path under certain conditions. But the precision of its journey, the deployment of its landing gear, the adjustment of its controls, these defied purely mechanical explanations. The fact that it landed itself, seemingly without human intervention, pushed the boundaries of belief. The story of Eleanor's Angel became an instant legend, whispered in hushed tones among pilots and ground crew. For Liam, William, Jacob, and Benjamin, it was a profound and unsettling experience, a tale they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. They had jumped from a dying plane only for it to rise from its own ashes and complete its mission, seemingly by itself. The B-17, a machine of war, had somehow developed a will of its own, a silent determination to return. It was eventually decommissioned, studied intensely, and eventually became a symbol of the war's enduring mysteries, a testament to the extraordinary,
the impossible, and the enduring power of the unexplained. The ghost bomber, Eleanor's Angel, continues to fly in the annals of history, a silent reminder that sometimes, even in the most logical of worlds, the unbelievable can become terrifyingly real, leaving us to wonder about the unseen forces that sometimes guide our destiny.